welcome to War of the Stars, a Star Wars Roundtable podcast. My name is John Mark Tolley, and we're coming to you, as always, from deep within the Outer Rim, far beyond the watchful eyes of the Galactic Empire. Joining me today, he is the host of Breaking the Fourth Wall and the CEO of Realm of the Mist, Mr. Christopher Stoley. Chris, what's going on, man?
I'm watching Christopher the Squirrel.
Okay. Also joining us today, he is our... He is host of Star Wars Canon Library and the Jedi Journals, our own personal Jocasta, Mr. Brian Miller.
I've said it once and I'll say it again. I'll take Jocasta. She's hot.
Also joining us today, the lovely and talented, as always, Miss Christina Talley.
How y'all doing?
Golf clap. Golf clap.
Inside joke, guys.
Yeah.
You'll see next month.
No, it might be a little bit longer than a month because this is on the other computer. Long story on that, too, guys.
So there's an inside joke among many Star Wars fans, sort of a self-deprecating joke, that no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. So today we're going to be talking about some of the biggest controversies, some of the biggest things that recently have divided, pissed off, just let people bitch and moan about general Star Wars stuff. Starting with the one thing that has been the new big hullabaloo is, what exactly do you call the big camel walkers? The all-terrain armored transports.
I call mine Fluffy.
I call mine Spot.
I can see Brian's about to explode, but according to Lucasfilm themselves, the correct pronunciation is rhymes with hat. It is at. That is, according to Lucasfilm's PR, that is the correct pronunciation.
All right, let's let Brian go off. He looks like he's going to explode.
Well, I'm going to let Brian go off, but I'll say it real quick. Again, from the military service that I've been in, acronyms don't always have to be literally AT-AT or ABCD. You can, if it has a snazzy little way of becoming a little like phrase to make it easier to remember or to enunciate to others, you've used it. I.e., as example, snafu, foobar. You don't turn around and say the full sentence, and you don't turn around and just name off the initials. You say it as a phrase of its own. So at to me makes sense. However, we do know it's AT-AT, all-terrain assault transport or whatever.
Armored transport. Armored transport.
Excuse me, it's an AT-AT. Shut up.
Well, at the same point, too, in Rogue One, what I know the ones in Rogue One actually had a different name on them. You know, for the life of me, I can't remember what
they were. They were AT-ACTs.
Yeah.
No, it's for the AT-ATs, weren't they?
AT-ACT.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. AT-ACT.
All-terrain armored cargo transport.
So, in that same logic, will it be AT-AX? It sounds like, I'm sorry, AT-AX sounds to me like Mars Attacks, the freaking aliens.
Just guys, it's a fucking AT-AT. What the fuck do you call an AT-ST? What the fuck do you call the AT-M6? Like, no, it's a AT-AT, guys, not an AT-AT.
Well, I'm going to say this for the record. Growing up, I grew up with the original trilogy, and it was AT-AT growing up. I remember the toy, when they showed it, like when they had the AT-AT toy or AT-AT toy or whatever your correct pronunciation is of it. I remember on TV they called it an AT-AT. They didn't call it an AT-AT. And at the same time, for me, I just feel it's like the, tomato, potato, potato argument. It's how
I think both can be right. If you look at it from the rebel standpoint, like Chris said, they come up with these. The military always comes up with these little nicknames for ships and especially enemy ships and planes and stuff like that. So that makes sense. It also makes sense that the Imperials would call it an AT-AT. So I can see both sides, that it could be, you could have both sides be right, that it could be both, depending on what side you're on, and, you know.
Or we could just refer to it as the way George Lucas wrote it in 1980 for Empire Strikes Back. He didn't call it AT-AT, he didn't call it an AT-AT, he called it an Imperial Walker. That was the end of it.
Yeah, that's true. Imperial Walkers.
I still go for a large. I go for a large and mechanical camel.
Large space camel.
Again, we were doing the camel cigarettes joke with the camel, and it's mechanical. All of a sudden, I got Jason 10 in my head. Upgraded. It just wanted its machete back. Sorry, go ahead. We love premarital sex. Squirrel.
Oh my god.
I really do think that Chris really does suffer from ADD.
I don't suffer. I enjoy every minute of it.
You derail worse than Amtrak. Too soon?
Wow.
It's more of a relief of a disaster than freaking FEMA.
Oh my god.
That's
Wow.
right. I'm picking off FEMA. I don't care. This ain't a safe zone. Let's keep going.
So before we got on the air, Chris, you were saying that you had some little controversies that you were wanting to talk about and get off your chest. So
Yeah, there's no such thing as a great fucking Jedi. No, the thing that gets on my nerves, it really is a controversy. Like you said, nobody hates Star Wars, or more specifically, nobody hates Star Wars fans more than Star Wars fans. You know, and quite honestly, it's pissing me off. Mark, Christina, and myself, you know, we're in that age group where we were alive and going to the theaters to see the original trilogy in theaters when it first released. The despecialized editions, the Han shot first, toothy butthole, yub-nub ending, original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
But,
No six-tittied fat woman dancing in Jabba's palace.
That's right. Only the oops titty of Ula. But nowadays, with the prequel trilogies and now the new saga or the new trilogy and the spin-offs and everything else, we have, and it's primarily my generation, your generation, that are this way, and it pisses me off to no end. These fucking Star Wars purists. Dude, okay, we get it. The original trilogy is the Holy Trinity. It's the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. We all know this. Do we have to bash and hate on every fucking Star Wars movie that has come out since, simply because it's Disney or because it's got Jar Jar Binks or fucking midichlorians? Who cares, man? It's our generation Star Wars. The prequels were another generation Star Wars. The new movies are another generation Star Wars. If you're a Star Wars fan, can't you just enjoy fucking Star Wars? Does it have to be a competition? And do we have to bash others for liking things like the prequels? Or
I'm going to go here with that. Star Wars Christmas special. I went there.
Well, every Holy Trinity needs a devil.
yeah. But you hit it right. I think it's one thing to critique something that we don't necessarily like, but when you bash the fans of something, that's when it's, you know, like I can say, you know, hey, I don't like, you know, episode 2, but I'm not going to bash someone for liking it. If that's their cup of tea, that's their cup of tea, you know, personally, and I'll lay out, you know, the reasons why I don't like episode 2. But I'm not going to sit here and say you're worthless or you're a horrible person, because, you know, it's with anything that we talk about here. You know, when you take it to a personal level, then, you know, that's something completely different. You know, we can sit here and argue about what the correct way to pronounce AT-AT or AT-AT is, or whether they're, you know, argue about the Gray Jedi and everything like that. But when you take it to a personal level, when you say that a person's an idiot or stupid or dumb, or that they don't have any worth just because they like, this is make-believe, people. This is entertainment. This isn't life and death. We're not talking religion and politics here. You know, we're talking about one person's vision and dream that he created to make people happy. You know, why are we arguing over stupid crap?
To quote the maker, something that he made for 12-year-olds, no less.
Yeah,
True story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of falls under the same deal. I'm gonna mention the enemy for a minute, but you know, Star Wars fans arguing about the original trilogy versus the prequels versus the new saga is like the Star Trek idiots fucking arguing over who's better, Kirk or Picard. We all know Kirk is the better character, Picard's the better actor.
See, I love throwing
cares?
a wrench in that works and just say Janeway.
Was a fucking idiot.
Janeway was not an idiot, but it's great because it screws up that conversation every time. Or Sulu is the other one you can pull.
No, I pull Archer because that pisses them all off.
Yeah. Well, in every franchise that's been around for a long time goes through this. Star Trek went through the same thing when they came in the 80s when they came out with Next Generation. You had an entire generation of fans who go, "That's not real Star Trek. That's not Kirk McCoy and Spock. This is going to be horrible." I'm sure Doctor Who fans did the same thing when the new Who came out. That there was a lot of fans just like, "What is this? Oh, this isn't Doctor Who."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anytime you have any franchise like that, you're going to have people that are like that. You know, it's just. And I have a question. Do you think that this is, of course, to kind of answer my own question, but do you think this has always been around, or do you think that this is something new, or is it just that the internet has allowed these people a more of an open forum?
I think it's because the internet is. I mean, everything is more open now. People from all over the world can, talk about the same topic on the same thread now, whereas really 20 years ago, even we didn't have that technology like that. I mean, we had AOL, so we had it to a point. Yeah, I'm dating myself, whatever. But we don't, like, now it's a global thing. Like, majority of people now have a smartphone, tablet, computer, something along those lines where they can actually get on there and go, oh, yeah, let me join, let me get on this chat thread right here about Star Wars. Let me put in my 2 cents about Grey Jedi. In reality, the only thing, it is fiction, like we said earlier, and you got to remember it's fiction. I love Star Wars. Star Wars is my movie when things are looking really down in my life. I turn to try to pick myself back up again.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having these debates and talking about these different things as long as we do it in a civilized manner. Like we're doing right here. There's no problem in, I don't hate Chris because he doesn't like Grey Jedi, and I do. That's not something, I'm not going to say, it's just we have a difference of opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I can make you hate me. I can make you hate me for it, because all I have to do is say Pablo Hidalgo said it's not canon.
Yeah, but how do you know? Here's the thing. No. I'm going to say this. I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a sec with that statement. How do you know he didn't say that just to throw people off? So people are going to walk around and puff their chest and go, see, Grey Jedi aren't canon. And all of a sudden goes, oh, by the way, that earlier statement, they are canon.
Well, no, because the fact it simply makes sense, but that's another argument. Quite honestly, I agree with you. I think the argument was always there. I think from the prequels era through, it was always there, but the internet popularized it. Because people did. They had arguments and stuff like that. And you're right. It's fine to debate. Oh, I like the prequel trilogies. I think Anakin was a great character. And his dialogue about Sam was awesome. That's great. If you feel that way, that's great. What's not okay is when you bash somebody for having that opinion.
Yeah. Or like what's happened to Mark in the past, where people just get overly insulting over it and say stuff that's not even true.
Right.
But going back to what you were saying with Pablo, my issue with Pablo was not necessarily what he said, but the way he said it and the way it came off to me just came off as douchey. When he made the comment about the Grey Jedi being like vegetarian spaghetti, and then he posted a picture of from the Trump rally, not the Trump rally, but the Trump inauguration, the big wide shot. And he said, "Look at all the fans that are wanting to see the Old Republic TV show." It's stuff like that that really turned me off to Pablo.
I do have to agree with you on that.
douchey things like that. I'm just kind of like, really, dude, you're alienating a lot of your fan base.
Because I really like Pablo Hidalgo quite a bit, but I do completely, because I saw that tweet and I do agree with you on that, Mark. That one had the potential to rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah, and he's done a few things like that are like, and I mean, again, I'm sure he's a nice person and a great guy, but just a couple things like that, I was just kind of like, really. But
well, see, I'll play the devil's advocate for Pablo in this sense. And before I even make that statement, I just want to finish on the prequel hates. The only prequels that truly deserve the hate they receive is not the Star Wars prequels. It's not the reboots of Star Trek. It is them goddamn Hobbit movies. Lord of the Rings.
It's a really good thing Kristen's not on here.
I was just thinking the same.
Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was a great trilogy, but them Hobbit movies. Anyway, Pablo. Yes, it was a dick move. It was a douche move. He didn't have to be that forceful with what he was saying. However, imagine how often he gets bombarded with the stupidest shit over and over again. People that argue with him when he turns around and says this ain't canon or this is canon, and people want to argue with him when he is the keeper of canon. I got to imagine sooner or later you're gonna have, if somebody was doing that to you, sooner or later you're gonna have your moment where it's like, all right, fucker, this will shut you up. You know what I mean? And be done with it. I'm not saying it's right, but I understand.
Right.
Yeah, and well, I mean, speaking of canon, I did a couple of, as fans of the show might already know, I do another show called Nerdy Observations, and one of the first shows I did was on 2 episodes on canon and kind of the importance of canon, but at the same time how we can't let canon run our fandom. We can't let it. How can I explain this? I don't think that we should be so ingrained in everything has to be canon. We can't have ideas of our own. Sometimes headcanon is the funnest thing to do with especially in sci-fi.
Yep, we lost Brian.
Holy crap! I was talking about canon and he left.
You pissed off the canon librarian.
Should we buy him the glasses? With the horn rim glasses, the librarian horn rim glasses.
We were just saying I was talking about canon and I must have pissed you off and you left.
No. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. No. I don't know what that, like, you were sitting there talking, all of a sudden just nothing. I'm like, what the heck? Come on. And then, okay, we're good.
Yeah, I'm here sitting here talking about how, canon doesn't have to be the end-all be-all of any sci-fi genre movie or TV show, and all of a sudden you just leave. I'm like, holy crap! We just. He's like, this is wrong.
No.
Well, I think personally on that statement, I'll lead this one off. I think canon's very important to the main story. With that being said, so I absolutely think canon is like. This is the way it is in the Star Wars universe. However, we have 30-plus years of extended universe material that Disney and Lucasfilm still allow to be out there. It's still being sold. It's now got the little Disney logo at the back of the book or comic or whatever now, but it's still out there. It can still be gotten. My argument is you should allow filmmakers, you should allow authors, you should allow comic book collaborators like the new Star Wars Adventures that's coming out that can create non-canon material that could do, as they called it the extended universe, the legends. It's the folklore within the folklore. It's their stories that they believe in, their myths.
Yeah.
So why can't that story continue, which really would make both the canon junkies and the non-canon junkies happy. And it would pretty much swallow this argument.
One thing I really like that they did when Disney kind of reformatted the canon is they left, like you said, they left the legends, kind of reformatted into legends, but said we'll still these are stories that we can still pull from. I mean, look, they've already brought in Thrawn.
Yeah.
They've already used aspects from the Legends material and brought it in. So there's a plethora of characters and stories and stuff that can be brought in from all over the Legends timeline that we, and, there's no reason why characters like Mara Jade can't be brought in somehow. We've already brought in Thrawn, so Admiral Palayan, Revan. There's a number, even Starkiller. I can see very easily of retconning Starkiller in.
He just wouldn't be Starkiller. He would be Galen Merrick because they already screwed the pooch with that, as Brian leaves again, with making Starkiller base.
Yeah, true.
But that doesn't bring the secret apprentice with another code name or something of that nature. Yeah.
Oh, I agree fully, because the Force Unleashed series is an awesome read. We were just talking about that before we started tonight. Because
I mean, obviously there are certain, like, you're not going to get, because of the new sequel, you're not going to get Jason Solo or Jaina and Brian's
Skype took a shit.
Yeah.
Well, so much for keeping that PG.
Not connected to Skype. As many times we dropped the F-bomb, now you're worried about keeping a PG?
So
that's PG.
Oh, look, what's that? Is this Vader? No, it's just a bird.
Just a bird? Well, shove it in the toothy butthole.
It's got a second one, too.
There it is.
Goodbye.
But, no, go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Like I was saying, there's obviously characters that we'll never get, like I said, like Jason Solo or Jaina Solo, or even we already have Ben Solo, but we won't get Ben Skywalker or Anakin Solo. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stories and characters from Legends that we can be. They
don't always have to do the Skywalkers, follow the Skywalkers either. They show that they could be very successful and stay off of those characters with Rogue One.
Yeah.
So you don't always have to be about the Skywalkers. You can move on to many, many other stories out there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing the Legends or Extended Universe did give us. It gave us many other stories from the universe, so it wasn't always concentrated on the Skywalkers messing up the entire galaxy with family drama.
I would have to slightly disagree, and the reason I say slightly is you're right. They've got more than enough with the standalone movies and everything else that they could shy away from the Skywalker lineage and tell other stories. They could definitely open up other trilogies to other stories, but the main titled sagas has always and will always be about the Skywalkers because they're the main of the Star Wars saga.
Well, that's fine. I'm just saying, though, you can make other movies and bring in other characters.
That's why I say I agree with that. It's just, as far as like completely ignoring the Skywalkers after Luke, for the sake of argument, unless Rey is actually a Skywalker.
Rey is a Skywalker. There's no way she's not.
I've said that, but she's a Skywalker and a Kenobi.
I don't agree with that.
I'll explain later.
I know. Yeah. Oh,
I said for those that don't know. But all in all, it's got to be about the Skywalkers because that's what the saga is. But all the spin-offs and subsequent other movies that can have the Star Wars logo on it doesn't have to be.
You know who I would actually like to see brought back into canon, because I know he's not canon? Dash Rendar.
Dash would be cool to come back.
Dash would come back with his YT-2400. It looks like two hubcaps glued together with a flashlight. Seriously, look at the YT-2400. It looks literally like somebody took two hubcaps, two pieces, and stuck a flashlight on the end of it. But it would be cool to have Dash back as canon, because Dash was, I think, what game was that he popped up in originally? I know you were flying. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that right there, it would just be awesome to see him become canon again, talking about that. I mean, perfect example right there of how you can make, you know, how you can bring other characters back in and not have to be all about the Skywalkers all the time.
Well, we could always follow. We talk about these standalones and spin-offs. We could always do a story of Kyle Katarn.
True as well.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you guys are just talking about different things they could make films of?
Yeah.
Okay.
You and stepping away from the Skywalker lineage.
Okay, well, as far as Kyle Katarn goes, they kind of already did that with Cassian and Jyn in Rogue One. Because, I mean, in the EU, it was Kyle Katarn and Jan Ors that got the plans to the Death Star. And when you think Jan Ors, Jyn Erso, those names are really, really close. You can tell the inspiration came from that. Cassian and Katarn, you know what I mean? And Cassian and Kyle, I should say. You can kind of tell, because I think we've already got our canon version of Kyle Katarn and Jan Ors in Cassian Andor and
I don't necessarily agree because of the fact that Kyle Katarn moved on later to becoming a Jedi Knight in the Jedi Outcast Jedi Academy series.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, and he was kind of Luke's right-hand man. I wouldn't mind seeing a series of him being Luke's right-hand man, and I hate to say it this way, but if they followed the original story mixed with what the saga's doing, Kyle dies trying to defend the Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be all right with that.
Yeah.
I mean, Jedi Outcast is one of my favorite Star Wars games ever.
Academy's my favorite.
Academy was good, but Outcast, man, holy crap.
Academy was just insane. That was still one of my favorites. It's just I think it was more because of how the fighting was in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, so many games annoy me when it comes to, like, going off topic, but not really. Like, Star Wars games annoy me because you play a Jedi, but you takes you, like, you know, multiple hits to take something down. You're like, It's like, what are you hitting him with, a blunt bat? No, you hit him with technically a laser sword.
Yeah.
And Academy, you literally slice through bad, like, you know, your enemies. You're like, done. And that's how it should be. You don't sit there for 10 minutes smacking someone with a lightsaber, getting them to die.
Well, Jedi Academy is how my daughter got her first name.
Nice.
The main character's name was Jaden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, you know, just putting that out there, like, that's one reason why that's always been and even the whole Jedi series is like that, which is one of the reasons I love the series. Even KOTOR, you didn't sit there and smack things for hours with, like, hey, is this Stormtrooper dead yet?
But that's the way RPGs work, though. I mean, that's just
It's
not okay. Like, when that was canon, it's not like in real life, they sat there and looked at each other for 30 seconds and they take turns hitting each other. Like, that wasn't the way the story actually went down.
No, I know.
That was just the way the gameplay was. But
I know, because they have to make it more challenging. If you literally ran through and sliced everything in one hit and killed everything, it wouldn't be much of a challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand it, but it's kind of annoying when you know that, you know, what a Jedi can possibly do. You know, we've all seen the hallway scene with Vader. You know, it wasn't even really. He was tearing crap up and wasn't even putting effort into it.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, yet we've all seen what Jedis can do. We can all see what Sith can do. And then when you play a game, all of a sudden you're sitting there like, you know, you're a Master Jedi, yeah, but how come I can't kill this stupid ass Womp Rat in one hit?
Look, I'm going to say it right here. Between the hallway scene from Rogue One and the first level of The Force Awakens, why the hell have we not had a full-blown Vader video game?
Right?
Just go through and wreck shop as Vader through the whole
I
game.
loved the Force Awakens game. You know, that first mission where you're on Kashyyyk and you're playing Vader?
Yes.
I mean, it's just such a...
Force Awakens.
No,
Force
Awakens.
Unleashed.
Force Unleashed, I apologize.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, when you
like,
play Vader and because you're going to get the baby,
Why the fuck don't I have that?
and you're just sitting there, and you just... I have the Episode 1 game somewhere. It's goddamn horrible. Anyway.
Yeah.
But Episode 3 is phenomenal, especially when you unlock the Vader versus Old Obi.
Alternate ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just going off of that, I mean, that was one of the most annoying freaking. I love that mission, just because you were like you're picking people up, slinging them, and then if you kill enough stormtroopers, you get the Chad Vader reference achievement, the worst day manager ever.
Worst day manager ever.
And I was, because I just don't care. When I rock somebody like Vader, I don't care. I kill everything and everyone in my way. I don't care if you're on my side or not. I mean, that's what Vader. You gotta remember, what was it, WWVD?
What would Vader do?
Yeah, WWVD. Even though I just realized after I said that, it sounds really bad.
Well, think back to the PlayStation 1. Remember there was a game called 1. And the whole entire purpose of the game is the more you got hit and the more you got beat up, the madder you got. And the madder you got, the more powerful your character became. It's literally that type of game. It was literally just a button match, run around, blowing shit up game. Give me that, but make it Vader. And, tell the story. There's an easy enough story. Have him hunt down Jedi. That's all he's doing is hunting down Jedi.
I will sign off on it on one purpose. As long as you have full force powers, like you could pick Jedi up and just fling them off a cliff and be completely wretched with them. Or like even just sit there and pick them up in the air and go and rip them in half. It would just be awesome. Like complete bloodshed and gore. It needs to have complete bloodshed and gore. Something we don't get in Star Wars at all.
I don't know about bloodshed and gore, but it definitely has to have a brutality level.
That's what I mean.
Still got to appeal to kids. Star Wars is still a kids thing, meant for kids, I should say.
Yeah.
Well, to kind of get back to what we were talking about. Oh wait, what were we gonna say?
Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say just real quick to kind of get back to what we were talking about with like these things that the people argue about all the time. Can we talk about midichlorians for a minute?
Oh God. I don't know if I want to.
You're not going to be happy till somebody launches into a rant. You're not.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, look. I'm going to be real calm about this, okay? I know there's people out there like midichlorians. That's great. You're an idiot. That's all I'm going to say. So, okay, so...
Wow, we just lost a subscriber.
I'm kidding.
Hold on. I want to see the data on this. What motherfucker actually likes the midichlorians? I think that's the one thing that combines all the Star Wars fans together is midichlorians and Jar Jar Binks, because we hate both.
So,
And the Christmas special.
And the Christmas special.
in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, midichlorians is the second dumbest thing that's ever happened to Star Wars. I mean, it's...
What's the first dumbest? If that was
Jar Jar. But it literally makes the Force a blood disease. That's literally what it makes. It makes the Force an STD.
True.
That's exactly what it does. That's the only. Like when we first saw, before the prequels, when we all saw Star Wars, it was the magical living force. It was the mysterious force. We didn't know, where it came from or anything like that. But it was just this mystical energy field. Mystical, not scientific. Mystical. All right? There's a way to get rid of midichlorians and retcon it and make it make sense. Think about our scientific discoveries nowadays, right? Hundreds of years ago, we thought the world was flat. We were proven wrong. Yeah, we thought, all this other stuff. Why can't in Star Wars they be like, oh, well, we always thought midichlorians were a thing, but apparently they're not. Like
what we thought were midichlorians? It's really cancer.
Yeah,
I'm going to die.
You're gonna die. Yeah.
Well, the thing about it, and this is the only defense to the midichlorians I'll give, is the fact that I understand why George Lucas did it. He wanted to demonstrate how powerful Anakin was, being a Force-born Jedi.
It was a plot.
Was to give something that was quantifiable. But the problem is you wound up screwing what was supposed to be all powerful, all knowing by trying to make it quantifiable. I got his reasonings for doing it. It was just stupid to do it.
Well, I understand what you're. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, wouldn't you have rather seen Anakin prove himself more powerful than Yoda than to have a little tiny machine and a blood test say it?
Yes.
Well, how are you supposed to do that with Jake Lloyd?
You've got 2 more movies coming up, though. All you got to do is say, wow, this kid might be the chosen one, the most powerful being in the Force ever.
I think it would be kind of cool.
He may be more powerful than Yoda. And then in episodes 2 and 3, you show it instead of quantifiably measuring it.
I agree. Yeah. And also, it would have added that whole thing. Is he really more powerful than Yoda? It would have added a lot of questions. And would have made people, I got to see episode 2. I got to see episode 2. I got to see if this is really true. Is he really the chosen one, or is it somebody else?
Yeah.
So I have a question for you guys. Do you believe the story that Lucas had always wanted to do the midichlorians from the first time, or do you believe that it was something he just made up when he did the prequels?
He made that up on the seat of his pants. I can guarantee it.
If he wanted to bring it in the
believe-
original trilogy, he would have had it in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I
no one to
believe-
tell him no.
I believe he had, when he was doing the original trilogy, he had a screenplay idea of the prequel trilogy. Just like I truly believe that he also had 7, 8, and 9 from Gate.
Yeah.
Concept, not
Well,
fleshed
even-
out. He added shit as he finally started fleshing the shit out.
Mm-hmm.
Midichlorians got added during the flesh out. But did he have the idea of how Anakin was a slave on Tatooine, found by the Jedi, killed on Mustafar, resurrected as the monster? Yes, of course. That he had that.
Well, even back in the 70s, before Empire came out, between when Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back came out, there's an interview. I don't remember who was interviewing him, but it was Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill. And they were talking about if they were going to be returning for Empire Strikes Back, and if the movies kept going, if they were going to keep coming back. And Mark Hamill said, well, after our movies are done, and this is from 78. You can go back and find this interview. He said they were going to go back and tell the prequel story of like a young Alec Guinness and you know, Anakin Skywalker and where he came from. That was in 78.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, it was just an idea. It wasn't like he had every detail knocked out. Because if he did, there wouldn't have been so many inconsistencies between the prequels and the classics.
Well, also remember his announcement he made after Episode 3 came out, where it was like a little bit after set when he pretty much said and goes, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make the last 3 movies because I'm too old and it's not enough time. In other words, he realized, like you don't say that unless you have those movies ready to go. He had those movies. Once again, he may not have every detail.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why he decided and goes, you know something, let me sell it to a company that can finish the story.
Yeah.
And
He had
why
an outline.
Yeah, he had
And
an
then they
outline.
Then they took his outline and shit all over it.
I don't think they did necessarily.
They did.
What-
It was blatant. They said, "Okay, we'll take a look at these." Turned around and threw them in the trash.
Yeah,
and wrote their own story.
I don't
That's
know.
fact.
I don't know if you would say took a shit on them. Because that implies. Because my first thought was that means Force Awakens was crap, and that wasn't the case.
I loved Force
I'm not saying it.
Awakens.
I'm not saying it's crap,
yeah,
but it's nothing. It's nothing of what Lucas had originally envisioned.
We don't know that.
Yeah.
If you ever got your hands on that original transcript for 7, you might go, "Oh, thank God."
I do.
Jesus,
I do
thank
have.
God.
I do have interviews with George Lucas where he has stated that it's nothing of what he wrote.
But that might not be a bad thing after the prequels.
Yeah.
After the
That's
prequel
true.
trilogy, that might not be a bad thing.
Yeah, true.
And let me just to listeners out there, let me just say, and I'm sure we all can agree on this. We all 4 of us love George Lucas.
Oh yeah. Oh
That's-
yeah.
I mean, we may say all kinds of stuff about him, but we all love George
Oh
Lucas.
yeah.
I wouldn't
George
have
is
had
the
the
best.
priesthood if it wasn't for George Lucas. I really would.
So we say all these things in love, and I'm sure this is all stuff that he's had people tell him from the beginning.
I mean, here's the thing, too. I mean, just to clarify that, we all have that person we love, like a brother or sister, or an actual brother or sister, or any other family member that there's been times we've had to say stuff about them because they've annoyed us. They've done something really stupid, or something you just sit there and you have to call them out on. It's the same thing with George Lucas.
Look, we all argue with people we love. We love George Lucas, but sometimes he just did some dumb stuff. Nobody's
He does.
perfect.
Just don't choke on your aspirations.
That wasn't Lucas's fault. And that was the worst pun that has ever come out of Vader's mouth. That belongs with midichlorians and Jar Jar. It never existed.
I don't mind it so much, because I mean, think about it. That was a dad joke. Like that was straight dad joke.
Yeah.
But at the same time, look at the classic trilogy when he strangles Captain Nita and then he dies. He's like, "Apology accepted, Captain Nita," and just walks away. Like he was being sarcastic. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
But it wasn't dad joke sarcastic. How do you go from like, I find your lack of faith disturbing, where you're literally shoving
That
it
was
in their face,
sarcasm.
like don't argue with me, to don't choke on your aspirations. Direct.
He's being a
I
smart
know
ass. Krennic was
Yeah,
annoying.
he
Let's
was.
be. I hated Krennic, and I think he was written that way so you would hate him.
Yeah.
And I absolutely despise him to the point when I was buying all the Rogue One pops, there was like 15 Krennics sitting in there. I'm like, no, fuck you, fuck you, no. And
So
I still don't have a Krennic.
Okay, let me ask you this, Christina, and Chris will get this reference. Being going back to him being a wrestling fan, as a good heel or a bad guy, your job is to get people to hate you, right?
True.
So there's two different types of hate. So did you hate Krennic to the point of, I don't want to watch him, I can't stand him being on screen too? Or was it I don't like him because he's doing his job as his character to make me not like him and to make me want to see him get his one-uppance?
Easiest way I can explain it, he was the character that every single time he came close, like even in the beginning of the movie, when he got shot I wish he would died right then and there. Like, I wished him death through that entire movie, and when he finally died, I think I cheered.
Was that the character, though, or was it the actor?
The character.
The actor.
Yeah.
Okay.
The character.
So
the actor himself. Okay, he's playing a role, I understand it, but as far as the character, as far as Krennic goes, I could... Really? Anyway. No, my freaking phone just started sounding like gonk for some reason. I didn't know I had that sound effect on my phone. But anyway.
I was really glad when Krennic got shot in the face by the Death Star. Like, I was really happy.
I mean, yeah, I absolutely despised Krennic. Not the actor. I mean, the actor did a great job because he made you believe he was Krennic. And he made you hate him, which is what you needed to do as a character like that. But yes, I wished him nothing but death the entire time. Slow, painful, agonizing death.
And I like that we had a villain like that. It wasn't like I think so many times in all kinds of things we have the cool villain, the bad guy that we want to cheer.
Especially in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of our villains you kind of hate them.
And we need to get back to this guy is just a bad guy, and we want to see him get his one-uppance.
And I think we're coming up with that too with Kylo, especially since he's killed off his father.
One of the most popular characters in the franchise, too.
Yeah, well, in pop culture history, if you think about it, and I think that's, I think that's what they're doing. I think they're setting Kylo up to be the yeah.
That was the point.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna have to wrap this up here. So yeah, it's getting close to nighttime for my little one. So
your little Ewok.
My little Ewok. Got to sing the Nub Dub song.
Wait a minute.
You can only do that. No, you can only do that if you're actually playing on the Imperial helmets. You got to do the drums on the.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Whoa. She's part of the new generation. She's not an Ewok. She's one of those little penguin-looking things from Last Jedi.
Porg.
Oh, the Furby-looking things.
I really, really, really want a pulled pork sandwich, like really bad, so bad.
I'm about to say, wait.
No, because if you look at some of the background, like some of the behind the scenes thing they gave us for Last Jedi, in the background is Chewie with a feather in his mouth. I kid you not. Go watch it. Chewie's got a feather in his mouth. I think Chewie eats one of them little suckers. I'm not kidding.
Like a cat.
Go back and look. You guys think I'm crazy? Go back and look.
Like a cat, right?
What if he's just like sitting there staring at it and he's just like,
I just see Chewie walking up beside Rey while she's flying the Falcon, and he spits the porg out. He looks at her. It's a gift. It's a gift for the family.
I want to see like a herd of them go, or a flock of them go by him, and he's just like, And he's like that's all I was. And then he's like sitting there.
Chewie, what's in your mouth? Spit it out. Spit it out.
And that's why the one on the Falcon, he's sitting there dripping in spit.
No, then Luke walks up, picks up. These are really good fried.
No, Luke walks up. No, Chewie, bad Chewie, down.
No, it would only be right if he breaks out the spray bottle. Bad Chewie. You know, like you do with your cat.
You go inside Chewbacca's head and he's like...
Spoilers in case this shit actually happens.
And then you go inside Chewbacca's head and you hear him thinking, Han would have never fucking squirted me in the face with a fucking squirt bottle.
I'm still voting for this as an outtake in the next movie. Just real quick, I'm still voting for this, but if you look online, there's a video. Somebody did a Star Wars The Last Jedi version of the Moana song, You're Welcome. I will lose it if they put this as an outtake on the DVD of Mark Hamill starting to sing this with Rey. I think I will completely lose it. And they can do it because they're both owned by Disney.
Yes. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap things up tonight. We thank you all for joining us today. As always, remember to like and subscribe. Check out all the shows here on Realm of the Mist. Also go and check out Mr. Brian Miller, Star Wars Canon Library. And as always, we will see you next time. And as always, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you always.
Deuces.
And Reese's Pieces.
And